Well, there we go. I usually like to have, yeah, the standby. It's just not working. Very interesting that the standby pick isn't working. I hope you folks are doing well. Howdy, I'm Cody with IronVerse Comics, and we're going to be talking about how IronVerse Comics is even a thing, right? I got some things to talk about there on the table. We'll get to. I do want to see why that's not working, however. So give me 1 second. We're going to do a little bit of technical difficulty uh, tweaking, and we'll see if it's up there, because usually that only disappears if the file in question is gone, which it might be, but I don't think it is. Nah, it's right there. Huh. Yeah. Is there a way that you... Because it's a very useful thing. Oh, I have an idea what happened there. I just don't know how I'm gonna fix it currently. So we just won't. I'll have to use this as the standby page, but that's fine. Totally doable. All right, back on track. Really odd that that's having to be dealt with, but it is what it is. Hope you folks are well. It's New Comic Book Day. I'm hoping you're picking up some new comics, preferably indie, but whatever floats your boat and keeps sequential art out there and moving. You got my back. I've got your back, and well, you got my back in that way too, don't you? All right, got my coffee. It's good coffee. So where to begin? Where to begin is a good idea. Let me go ahead and we will dive into the yellow folder. What's in the yellow folder, you may ask? Well, a lot of things are in the yellow folder. Some of my piss poor drawing attempts are in there. Things like this. Not much of an artist, but this is from, God, what, 10, 15 years ago? Yeah. And I've tried picking up art again here and there. Has not, has not taken. I'm not patient enough. I'm very stiff. There's contract there. Some of the items. Was hoping, but it may not be in here. Oh, no, no, no. It might be right here. It might be right there. Mm, yeah, back in the day. It had me attempting paneling. Uh, why is that in here? Don't need this. Super entertaining, I know, so far. Let me see what is what here. This looks the same, except this one's been... Okay, so these are the same. Alright, well, we have a few things here. I think book 2 is probably included in this. So here's kind of... There's a few places it started. And I guess we'll start. And I've gone through this on the channel before. Oh, you know what? That's something that's not correct. Uno momento. There we go. I knew something was up. We have better lighting than this. And we do have better lighting than this. It's not the best lighting, but it's better. So, this isn't probably the first draft. This is probably, I don't know, second or third draft of the script to Jack Irons Steel Cowboy Book 1. I was silly enough not to put a date on this. Book 2 is in here. And you know what? We're going to probably check out Book 2 today as well. But it's a thing because I had a nagging idea in my brain. That answers the question there. You can leave the stream. You don't need any more information. Um, but if you want, you know, how it's actually a thing, how it's manifested, how we have, you know, this stack of just some random teenager's words, you know, manifested into these things. Well, that's the stream for you. So we'll be not step by step. We've done that with the long road to Jack Iron Steel Cowboy. You can check that out on this YouTube channel here, IronVerse Comics. It's about 3 hours there. I'm hoping to not be that long on this one. Um, and there needs to be a the long road to Jack Iron Steel Cowboy #3 Part 2 at some point, because I got a little ahead of myself with that one. There was a lot more coming, and I don't think it's going to stop. And you need to talk about that as well, because there's a lot of bumps I hope other creators won't have to repeat, right? Upward spiral. You might be repeating similar patterns, but hopefully you're growing instead of stuck in a circle. So, the nagging idea stuck with me, right? Stuck with me enough that I wrote about 8 scripts. This is about 8 comic scripts. You'd think it'd be thicker. It's not. Um, I'm very curious about this book too. I haven't read it in years. Um, Very exposition heavy. This first draft, right? The ideas again were just to get this shit out of my head. Uh, we even cut out the summary page, which you know may have had some use, but I can see why I cut it. So, trying to think here. I want a Long Road to Jack Iron Steel Cowboy. That one, I had bullet points. This, I mainly wanted to congeal the general idea of how this thing came to be. And first off, inspiration, I guess, is what I'd call the nagging idea, right? Had that. Second off, um, feeding that idea, doing something with it, writing the script. Um, Third off, grasping at straws, looking for a foot forward in this life, and then taking a wild gamble on yourself, I guess is what it was. Um, After that, it was making sure that it was connected to some of the right folks, in particular the artist, right? Search for the artist, search for somebody else, the other voice that was necessary to make this happen. Me, again, I tried, wrote the script. That wasn't enough for me. I knew what I wanted to make was a comic, so then I went ahead and, I had plenty of time ahead, was my thinking. So I was like, you know what? I got plenty of time. Maybe I can learn how to draw. Um, and I probably could have. I just can't. So then something like this came to be after that, after the inspiration, before the artist. When I couldn't get things quite finished in my head, right? I couldn't push forward because I was a kid, and I had no idea how to get into comics. No idea. You look online and you look in and you hear the term breaking into comics again and again. And I read a bunch of articles, right? And the main way that I was told is through the submission process. Even that term kind of bugs me, submission. Um, but at the time it didn't. I just thought that's how the gears work, right? That's how the mechanism works. You do something cool, you put it in front of people, and if it resonates with somebody, they help you get it going. Um, so I kept looking into that. Again, I tried to learn how to draw. Uh, eh. Again, I'm not that patient. I wish I was more patient. I think there's some natural talent, and I'd have a relatively cool art style, but the dedication to put all of your energy for a day into a page is amazing. Um, and I just don't have that. I wish I did. I can do that scripting pretty easy because it's moving from idea to idea very very quickly. And I guess some drawing can be like that too. But if you take it as that. Uh, but I don't know. Drawing just did not resonate with me, which with the way I wish it could. Uh, but you move forward with this idea. That's the main reason of how it happened is tenacity and stubbornness. Um, but going through the motions, you know, it was finding the artist, right? That one clicked very well, and having an ability to somehow set up a rapport with that artist. In this case, a financial rapport. And the fact that I could actually meet this person and see their portfolio, and we could exchange what we wanted out of the partnership, basically. That was super important. Not everybody gets to do that in this online day and age, where you're kind of trusting a lot on. You're always trusting in faith, right? Any encounter, even with those you know very well. Um, but more so when there's all of this division there, all of these blind spots. Um, and I've had to kind of navigate that throughout this entire endeavor. But finding the artist, being able to manifest something, right? Get the script to them. Um, then learning how to adapt to that partnership would be the next bit. How the art wasn't one for one to the script, right? And that was really important for me because my script, uh, well, there's a lot to say there. Um, the scripting process, period, I didn't know, right? That's one of the reasons I liked comics so much is when I was researching how to break in and such, I could not find a single scripting method. Uh, I saw that there was a lot of different methods and a lot of ways to use those methods. Some would be very simple. Some would be exceedingly descriptive. Some would focus more on setting. Some would focus more on dialogue. And then I found out, that's kind of writing styles, right? But the format, I could not find. So I just made my own format when I was writing that. Again, just to get the ideas on paper and to get something done, right? Get an idea out of my head. Um, you'll probably hear that from a lot of creatives. They'll be nagged. They'll have a muse whose type of inspiration isn't fleeting. It isn't coy and flirting. It's very direct and very almost punishing, I'll say. And sometimes the only way to get through that is to perform, the ritual of creation. And that's Jack. That's what inspired Jack Iron Steel Cowboy. Now, IronVerse Comics and Jack Iron. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't. There's not much of a separation, right? But there is in that I knew from the beginning what I wanted to do. Um, I didn't. I didn't want to take a swing at these big guys. I knew that as an indie guy, as a first time creative, you can swing for the fences and shoot for the stars, all that good stuff. Nothing wrong with that. But uh, you have to be keenly aware of the reality that you're working with. And I knew that it would take time for me to become fully aware of the reality I'm working in. So I knew the point of light I wanted to head towards, but I was very aware the path would not be straight forward and smooth, and that there would need to be lots of room for adaptation. Uh, and that's just business as far as I can tell, and how art happens is through business these days. A lot of art can just happen for themselves and such, but being an artist, being a creative, you still need to eat. You still need to keep a roof over your head. You still need to take care of that which you love, which can be your art, but it's most often many other things. And compromise is necessary, capitulation is not. That's always kind of been my bit. That's why I don't like the term submission so much, because it has that other definition, right? Um, the bowing, the humbling yourself before an authority. I have problems with authority, but nonetheless, that was the step after finding that communication with that Maxi, um, learning how to poorly letter, right? Getting the story out there. Um, I needed to do more. I couldn't afford to go straight to issue two. I shouldn't have been able to afford issue one. Maxie was incredibly kind, and he must have, and I think he did. He saw something cool in this project. Without his faith and mine, uh, without our faith, this IronVerse Comics wouldn't exist. The faith in that partnership and the interaction and this goofy idea. Um, and you just gotta push forward. But anyway, um, learned how to letter, went off the script with that, so I was writing to the art, which was based on the script, but the artist's eye was applied. Like again, this is just some teenager writing something, right? No concept of really setting up paneling. No real practice much in storytelling except for previous like small plays I've written. Never performed or nothing. Short stories I've written, right? I've always had a nagging mind in terms of communication and dialogue, and scenarios, past, present, future. My mind's always running in conversations and what ifs. I think most people's are. It's kind of a survival mechanism, right? Um, but the Ironverse comics, it became a lot. It became a lot to handle, and that's how it got down. The concept, what would become Ironverse comics? This concept of being stuck in a world that is so full of darkness, but having to respect and honor that and push forward, and at the end of the day, hoping you leave something better behind you. With Jack, there might not ever be a behind him, which I think is kind of interesting. So it would be a constant case of trying to do better. I think that's really cool. But it's a trip. It's a trip. Uh, I do apologize for the scattered nature of this one. I should have started a list, but we're basically at the letter and the submission point is kind of what I was talking about. The breaking into comics when I was really researching and trying to go through legitimate channels, right? Um, as an indie guy, unless you have connections, and you're starting after those connections, right? I started before connections. I didn't I tried a bunch of different artists. I had no idea what they were worth to pay. I knew what my budget was, right? But I didn't know how much it cost to make these things. And so I spoke to a few people. They were interested, but never followed through. They were very flaky. None of them were really direct with telling me, no, I can't do this for that, which little shitty. You should be able to at least help that person understand why, instead of just ignoring it. I think that's a little cruddy. But again, eventually found the right person. Very lucky, very blessed. And we found that connection and we're able to manifest the work. So then I tried to submit the work. I tried, I don't know, 10 to 15 publishers for 3 years. Publishers at a basis won't respond, period. If you had something good, they might respond within 3 to 6 months. If you have something amazing, you'll probably get a response right away, right? We did not have something amazing. My lettering and such just was not up to par. To be honest, compared to what Maxi's been able to produce now over his increased experience, night and day. But issue one's still really well done in the storytelling for the artistic level. And I think the writing's. I have trouble with that. I think the writing's good. I appreciate my writing in issue one, but I could see a lot of traditional publishers not. It's not a traditional book. It's very indie. It's very much outsider art. Um, and it punches at the weight and above the weight of a lot of modern indie. So I could see that. You know, not every business is going to see something very cool being submitted to them as something they should support and help grow. Sometimes they'll see it as a threat. And I have no idea if that was a factor in some of these cases. But nonetheless, that was 3 years. It was 3 years of me trying the submission process. I heard back from one publisher in that 3 years, and kind enough to say he enjoyed the read, but it's not the kind of work they publish. I mean, that's a very simple, very quick email, and I really appreciated that. At least I knew that the submissions were actually reaching somebody. I didn't really care so much about rejection. I wanted feedback, right? I wanted the ability to grow and to learn about the industry and how to get in it. Again, from what I can tell, unless you have the networking already built in, which at this point, again, I was off social media. This was just me pushing work, hoping the work would speak for itself, and that I would be able to learn from its quality speaking from itself, from the interactions and doors that would open. And I did. I did, to be fair. I learned what didn't work. So after that 3 years, I eventually decided, well, I'm not going to get it published. So let me self-publish through a web comic thing. See if that somehow that bit of opening those doors could open more doors. So yeah, I published on Tapas. Was always on the lookout for an alternative to the mainstream. And now when we're talking comics, there's the mainstream is tiny. So any alternative is even smaller. But at that point, when you're a naive kid and you see these books being printed and you see these awesome properties getting TV shows, movies, you think it's a relatively massive industry. And it's not. It's not. It's tiny, tiny. Um, the more I learn about it, the smaller I see it is. Though, if you include like all of indie, it's pretty amazing the diversity and magnitude of some of the works and companies and what they're able to do for being so tiny. But it's tiny. It's tiny, and so if you know the right people, I think you can get through the right channels, right? I was an outsider putting a C plus work out there if you include my lettering job. At best, C plus. If it was just the art we were submitting, it would probably be at least a B plus. Um, and yeah, so nothing back, nothing back. Submission process only taught me that no one's gonna help me get this work out except for the team and people I'm able to assemble and the work I'm able to do. That's what the submission process taught me. Um, I've not completely given up on the mainstream channels. I understand why the submission process exists. I understand how it exists. Um, but it was too slow. And the fact that you really have to build up your bones to even get awareness in this industry, submission process is unlikely to be the way you make your bones. The way you break into comics is to make and share comics and not to give up on it. That's how IronVerse Comics is a thing, is we made a comic, we shared it, and we have not given up on it. Um, that and it's a quality that I think quality. There's a lot of qualities in it that people resonate with. Whether it's the art style, it's the thematics that we've chosen, it's the voice of the main character. There's a lot of things I've heard that people resonate with it, and that's the point. That's the whole idea of Jack Irons. Um, I wanted it to resonate with as many people as physically possible, and I built that into the character because it is a expression of something I hope and believe that we all share. This struggle with knowledge and mm, creating ourselves in space time and pushing forward through that manifestation every day, even if the weight of everything there is a lot, right? It's so much so that it can be completely crushing. And yeah, so the submission process taught me to just do it myself. Uh, so we did it ourselves. We published it as a web comic. Um, that did not get too much attention, but it got the attention it needed. What it ended up doing for us is, well, you can't just, as I'm finding out again, a lot of these bigger platforms, I chose Tapastic instead of Webtoons because I wanted something less mainstream, right? Um, you sometimes inherently expect more awareness to come passively than is actually feasible, right? For comics, for a long time, it was the newsstand, was passive awareness, and if it didn't sell, it got pulped. But you were paying for this physical presence that kiddos could come see and interact with. Um, I thought maybe that's all I needed to do is put it up there, and maybe people would see the quality and enjoy it, right? So I had it up there with my bad lettering, but at least it worked. The lettering was feasible. You could read the story. But we weren't getting much attention, and I really wanted to make more. One issue was never going to satisfy me, let alone how it had happened. I was really stoked we were able to. I was stoked I had a set of sequential art that I and Maxie had made, and so I tried that, and then the next plunge, right? I never wanted to take on social media, including something like this. Like getting on this camera took a lot. Um, but you dip your toes and you try things because you got to give it your all. That's where I was coming from again with the submission process, with all this. The whole process at the beginning is just me ramping up and redefining what my all was. Uh, and I'm still doing that today. That's what I'm doing right here. Um, it, Tapas didn't get much passive awareness. I didn't want to get on social media. So Reddit was my next step. I was like, that's about as passively and non-invasively I can share this. There's comics communities, there's sci-fi communities, right? Let's go ahead and put this in front of people. Some indie comics forum, oh god, what are they? Reddit, I think that's what it's called. Um, it got posted to, and a professional letterer saw it and loved the artwork and liked the story, hated the lettering, um, which is good. I thought it was good lettering. It was not. You need to be humbled by those who actually understand what they're doing here and there. Again, I was humbled with the artistry from Maxi. Um, and adjusted to that. But offered to re-letter this for us so that it was a better presentation. He thought it deserved better lettering, and all over that. You can still see that on Tapastic right now. The black and white complete free read on Tapas.com, whatever Tapastic.com, uh, is still his lettering. But no, because he was kind enough to stick with us on that. But that helped. That helped. We actually got the new lettering in and published that and started pushing that forward, right? Um, Still didn't get much more steam, but that was one more step forward. We now had a much more professional looking presentation. The story was more cohesive because it was more professionally done in the medium we chose to tell it. Um, and then from there, I just, again, I wasn't seeing the returns I wanted, the returns I felt it deserved. Now, there's some arrogance there, but it is a quality product in terms of independent comics. And I'm excited to, I was super excited that we had something more professional. So we're moving through it. Oh, howdy, Genuine Comics. Welcome. Talking loosely on how IronVerse Comics became a thing. If folks are interested, we have a longer stream that's more step by step um, on how this manifested, called The Long Road to Jack Iron Steel Cowboy #3 on our channel. If folks are interested. This is me just kind of rethinking about it, sharing some images and some thoughts and some of the process. Again, because I think there's a lot to learn in our journey, and I would like to share it. But anyway, welcome. Thanks for saying howdy. And yeah, thank you for the man cave. It is a nice man cave. It's taken care of me for a while. I appreciate it. A lot of strong energies in here. But so we got it relettered. We were able to. It was a very kind professional letterer who thought we had something cool. Again, trying to get it in front of somebody is important, and if it has quality to it, has promise, has hope, some people are going to connect with that, right? In our case, publishers did not, but another indie creator did, who helped us improve it. And so that was the next step. I kept trying Reddit, never really hit. So I had to take another plunge. And I was like, okay, well, what tools do I have available to me to make sure that I am giving this my all? And so that was social media was the next one. I'm not a fan of social media, what it can do, the fact that it is so powerful and so quick and so thoughtless. Um, Never wanted to take this plunge. Never wanted to be on camera either. But I appreciate the man cave compliment. Uh, it's a rough one, but that was the next step. So I started pushing it. Trying to see if I could get the free read, the black and white with the updated lettering, seen. And so I joined Twitter and I joined Facebook and started figuring those out. Again, wasn't much of a fan. Twitter, I was able to resonate with because of how thoughtless and spastic it is. Uh, I didn't have to have shame, right? So I just would post and post and post. Here's an image. Here's this, and then this. And Twitter about 3 years ago was a lot more forgiving to new accounts almost being spam accounts. Now, if I tried the exact same tactics, I've been dipping my toes in them again because I want to give it my all with this hardcover campaign, and we're scraping, we're getting there, but I have no idea if we're gonna fund. Um, it's rough out there. I still don't understand Facebook for shit. I don't think that marketing angle has done too much for me. Maybe a couple connections, but I started to figure out Twitter at least a little bit, and I found a community hungry for quality indie content, and I believe that's what we had. So I focused very hard on marketing to that sector, interacting and being kind to that sector, as well as, promoting other people's work, which I liked. Eventually, you can form networking just that simply. People like what you do, you like what they do, cross support. It's just logical, and does help boost. And that was how we got any footing under us. And that's kind of when the snowball started actually rolling, right? It was formed into a little thing, and then it was pushed with social media. And basically, once it starts rolling, you just have to guide it to keep it on the proper path so it doesn't smash into something and explode. And I've had a couple guideposts in that. I wanted to be kind. I want to improve the place that I'm at. So I try not to focus on any kind of negativity, even if there's a lot that almost should be focused on so it can be improved, right? But in a lot of cases, negativity is simply fed by attention. So that's a case by case common sense basis, and everybody's going to handle it differently. Uh, but that's one of the goalposts to kind of keep you moving straight through all that. The second was I wanted to focus mainly on comics. I didn't want to focus on any other political or Tangents. I didn't want to focus too much on tangents. That's changed in the last few years a little bit, but the tangents are very specific. Animals, other types of artistry, my work, mental health, um, things that can be related back to IronVerse Comics if you're actually reading the comics as well. A lot of it is built into the character of Jack Irons, but also into the concept of IronVerse Comics. Um, Pushing through that was a hell of an experience. There was a lot of speed bumps, and most of my learning came from trying to keep that snowball growing, moving forward, and not smashing into anything. Um, most of the networking I was able to make, most of the ground I was able to claim, and the view of the field was much clearer once I got onto social media. Um, is it the true view of the battlefield? Not at all, but it's about the only one that's offered. So you take it with a grain of salt, but there is wisdom to be found in it. So I was glad I jumped on social media for that. It allowed us to get this done. People eventually started reading it, right? And then sharing their thoughts and sharing it. We got crazy amounts of fan art. Yeah, I did skip the fact that I did run a crowdfunding campaign before joining social media. I think that failing is what made me take that plunge. Um, Mainly because I was like, well, it's not speaking on its own merits. I need to speak for it if I have to, and I have to find where you can speak, where there's a platform to be heard, and that was social media. Um, so yeah, I started running a campaign. I saw other folks pushing really hard, and so I ran another crowdfunding campaign, and we just pushed and pushed. We pushed the fact that we had a free black and white of that read. I just wanted to do issue two. And so you can even go back onto our Indiegogo account and just look up my name, Cody Fernandez, on there, and you'll find the campaigns I've run and been associated with. And you'll find the $10 one, the first one where we got one person to put $10 in 2 months. And then you'll find the next one where we found a publisher, we found a colorist, we had to find a new letterer. Um, we even found another colorist, to be fair, for issue two. Um, crazy set of circumstances these last 3 years since I got the snowball pushing, and that's what we've been doing since. What I've been doing since is trying to grow the snowball and keep any sort of momentum behind it. And luckily, we've been able to, but it's been a fight. It's been a fight. Some creators use drama as a marketing tool. Some people tend to gravitate towards drama. Other creators stay away from that and have to work in different ways to get noticed. Exactly. At the beginning, again, I was feeling things out, so there was some attachment to drama. Particularly, I am anti-corporate. I am very much pro grassroots and having a massive, not having funds funnel to megacorps and then swallowed up, so that there's less potential below the megacorps. Um, it was easy for me to get on some bandwagons that were anti that. But then when I found how far they'll go, it was just not my thing at all. It wasn't fun. It wasn't growing anything worth growing, and the books were not being supported on just merit. Very often, merit was a secondary concern to who the creator was and what they were saying. Um, and that's not what I wanted. Who we are and what we're saying is in the art. It's right here. This is what we want to communicate to you. Um, eventually, I definitely stepped away from that quite strongly because it was just disgusting. Every stream I'd get on, I'd have to just sit there and swallow my fucking tongue while listening to the same points being beaten to hell again and again. I was just like, fuck. I'm done with these labels. I'm done. Let's talk about what we love. Let's talk about these comics. Talk about what we're doing, not venting and repeating the same shit again and again. Really put me off. But you do what you got to. So that was just part of a learning experience and part of growth. And you'll see now I'm on a lot less live streams, significantly less. And when I am on them, I focus on respect, gratitude, and pushing the product. That's it. If there's any other narratives there, and they refuse to let them go, I'm likely to leave the stream, find an excuse to exit. But and that was another one, getting on live streams. That was a hell of a thing. It used to be through Google Hangouts all the time. Uh, Learned a lot there. I found some very cool folks, and also some very shitty folks who were able to pull the wool over my eyes for a damn good amount of time. That was a big lesson that took a while to build up to, and still hurts greatly. But we've scrubbed that pretty good. So I've learned, and I'm keeping plenty of mementos so I don't fucking forget. But with the colorist, with a publishing deal, we just wanted to make with that campaign that came off social media. We just wanted to make an issue number 2 in black and white. I just wanted to fund the next chapter, right? Um, but that campaign exploded. We found a colorist found us. He loved the line art, the single pages I was sharing, and he wanted to color it. And he put out a page that was so gorgeous that the smaller community that we had fostered really loved. That I was like, well, if we hit this stretch goal, we'll color this issue. Um, and we did. And we were able to color and print thanks to our wonderful publisher at Wicked Publishing, the printing. Um, we have these 2 issues right here. In fact, this is the printer proof I received for issue 2. This isn't the printer proof on this, but this is the printer proof for issue number 2. Um, Huge journey, man. The main thing, I guess I'll surmise it, because we're still pushing forward, and a lot of what I spoke about is still our modus operandi. Um, it's still why we do it and how we do it. Um, Adapt. If you find someone you can resonate with, make sure you respect that resonation. You respect that connection. Um, you understand the value it can be for yourself and for them, and you adapt so that you can continue doing it. Everybody's going to have a different journey, a different road. So don't compare yourself heavily to others. Just try and learn from their successes and their failures to try and again adapt your path, and that's how you'll get this done. Um, I mean, it started from this has been a 15 or so year 15 or 16-year journey for myself to get to this point. 3 issues out and working on trying to fund a hardcover. Um, a lot of people, it's a lot quicker into comics, right? Uh, um, some people, uh, I mean, what Jack Kirby didn't start getting really popular until he was like 45 or something. So you stick with it. We put that in. I mean, I wrote that in issue number 1, page 3. Tenacity will get you through anything. I try and put a lot of the journey into our work as well. Um, my journey as well ends up in there more than I think it does. When I was putting it in there, right? When I wrote it, I didn't think it was my journey, but it ends up having some of that as time moves forward and the actual physicality of these stories manifest. I've noticed there's a lot of that happening. Uh, just keep at it. That's the best way. Is we didn't give up. uh, that's how IronVerse Comics is made. So as usual, open to any questions on the process. I know this has been more of a rambling. I like to have more points out, but I also wanted this to be quicker. And if I had done what I did for the long road uh, video, we would be here about that 3 hours. And though I'm willing to today, I don't know if I have that much to say about it again. Uh, But yeah, I'm happy to answer any questions, any thoughts on our work, any comments on our work. Um, I don't think we produce the single best, first issue in comics. Not even close. I'm sure there's a lot of better ones, but I think we did pretty goddamn good for a bunch of kids barely in their 20s. Um, and particularly with me with no prior experience in any of these industries, I think we did pretty good. And I think we continue to grow. And feedback I've heard from issue 3 is it did what I wanted it to, which is come full circle. So that we can start a volume 2, we can start the next steps in our journey. And we are trying to, and yeah, I'm gonna go into shill mode. You can't be again, you can't have too much shame. I don't know why this is working, but the other one isn't. But whatever. I need to go over here. This is our. Oh wow, we actually got a backer, at least one backer while I was yapping away. I really appreciate that, whomever you are. Almost to 3K, but let me get it showing. Uh, Continuously adapting. So I've also changed this promotional image again. I originally had this image with the logo there. Um, and I don't know, I think it's a really cool image, but I don't know if it pops enough. Thematically, I think it communicates a lot of what IronVerse Comics and what the Steel Cowboy is. But we're trying bright, flashy colors with more of an action connotation, see if that brings in more backers for a little while, and then I might switch it up again. Don't be afraid to try new things, and don't be afraid to beat dead horses, um, because the internet is massive, and though a lot of people have already seen your stuff, even more have not. Um, so that's always my bit. How I'm able to be a little bit shameless with my promotion. Like I know some people have seen it a million times, but there's a million people who haven't even seen it once. So that's a thing as well. But we're trying to get this funded. It'll be a 96-page hardcover collecting issues 1 through 3. I just have 1, 2 here. I think you can see. Well, I don't know if you can see. I don't know if the camera's up that high anymore. You can't. All right. Well, if you could see, you'd see that above me, issues 1, 2, and 3, the current versions going out to backers are here. That's what you'll be getting. We've remastered these. Um, God, we've had so many bumps. There's a lot more to talk about. Again, I want to do a issues 1 through 3 kind of retrospective, a long road to Jack Irons number 3, part 2. Um, but that one I'm actually going to have to put thinking through, so I'm not rambling. But yeah, these are going out to backers. People have been receiving them finally, which is it's the best part of this journey. It's the folks who lent us energy to be able to do this, and it's a lot of energy, right? These are artisanal comics. They're not, you think Marvel and DC and Image overcharge for their books. Holy hell, what we have to do as grassroots folks to get these made. Um, and we pay better often than than the bigger corporations as well, because the bigger corporations have that weight, that marketing muscle, which isn't always that strong. But at least they have their brand, their icon, their history, right? So people, sometimes it's the characters too, the icon, the brand again. Um, People are willing to suck up, um, or take a hit on what they're actually worth to be able to work on these properties to hopefully build up what they're worth even more. Um, does not work for the vast majority of creators. I can just say that right now. It really does not work. Some are able to take a bigger step, um, but I think they're also the ones who are also getting paid what they deserve. So I think I think there's a little bit of an illusion there that you can take less now to build up your reputation, when you shouldn't. Either do your own thing or they need to treat you how they should treat you. I think that's the better stance for everyone in this industry. And it does work. There's a lot of people who it works for. So I wouldn't buy into that. Again, submission process. I wish I had a different term, but it is what it is. Genuine comments. What inspired this comic? Well, I've answered that a few times. Let me go ahead and that one I'll go on a little bit of a script for because it's just easier for me to do it. And so earlier in the stream I did it kind of off the cuff, but there's a I've used that point because it's very important to me as a marketing point. So I want to find how I put that. Uh, and it might not be put the best, but it's better than I'm going to do from the top of my head currently. I'm noticing even with all this caffeine, I'm not focused today. I'm very so I'd rather have a little bit more focus on it. So just a second, I'm very happy to answer that if I can find. I'm looking through fan art. It's good stuff, but not the point I'm looking for. Where is the point? Where is the point? It is here. I know it exists. I know, I know. There it is. Okay. So, um, and I'm reading straight off of this right here. You'll see it. Reading straight off of this. As base level, it's overcoming the weight and burden of eons to wake up another day and follow your own path anyway. To hopefully leave it all better than you found it. When I was a teenager, when you're a kid moving into a teenager, and it's a very similar process when you're a teenager moving to an adult. It just has different weight. But moving from a child to a teenager, you start gaining more and more awareness of the world, and that includes a lot of stuff that maybe as a child it was not part of your world. And it could be some very heavy, very evil things, just straight up some very dark things, right? You're aware of war, but it's presented to you more in the GI Joe or Transformers or something kind of perspective, you know. Very clear good guys, very good clear bad guys. Um, but as I was gaining the awareness and I dug into a lot of, you know, you dig into history, you dig into different types of storytelling. Some people dig into horror. Um, that awareness grows, and for me, it hit me very, very hard. Um, and I've always had a struggle with justifying existence, and I don't have to, right? It's not that's very way above my ken and my station, but at its base level, it was that Jack Irons is a man who has to physically live with all these different lives, right? He's a reincarnated person. He has all these memories of very evil and very good things, all these different cultures, all these different lives, people um, that he has been. But he's stuck as an immortal, and he's watched humanity decay and become something very dark. And it was, you know, that's a manifestation there of me trying to figure out, well, how the fuck do you justify keep moving forward and participating in this, in this, you know, in all of it. Um, that's was the inspiration, and it continues to be. It's an exploration of, you know, why. A lot of people have those in their books. A lot of people will do that. That's why I've always put it as a philosophical exploration piece. It's not an action book. People want it to be an action book. He looks like an action star. The setting is perfect for action stuff. Um, but it's not an action book. It's me trying to figure out how to continue and why to continue. Um, and I found a lot of that, right? The work itself has become a near justification for itself, and I fucking love that. It's connected me to some amazing individuals. It's taught me a lot of lessons, both very hard and very easy. Um, and yeah, at the end of the day, that's kind of where it comes from. What inspired this comic? Dollar coins. Ha, you were afterwards. But in terms of the overall, like IronVerse Comics, dollar coins, no shit. No shit. Massive inspiration, brother. and not just inspiration, but actually creative weight and actual manifestation into dynamics and actual structure. That's a hell of a thing that you've known me. I'm not great at. It's like it's up here, but that doesn't fucking matter. Most of the stuff I can do is juggle and make things happen. Uh, but actually having a structure and a foundation, um, the only foundation was what I was talking about, to explore and to push forward through horror, um, with a strong footing. Um, there's a lot of inspiration though. That's like the core or whatever. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of creative inspirations. Mad Max, Samurai Jack, RoboCop, um, a lot of 80s action films and 80s cartoons and such, where there's that veneer over what it's actually talking about. I wanted to remove that veneer, put it very grounded in reality, but then twist that reality into a different type of fantasy so that people aren't drowned in it like I tend to drown myself in it. Uh, but yeah, I hope that kind of answers your question. Um, it was a transition from childhood to adulthood, the increased awareness of reality that comes with that, as well as a desire to create something out of everything else that I loved so much growing up. And some things that maybe I shouldn't have even been seeing growing up. Um, I hope that answers that question for you, Genuine Comics, and thank you for asking. Um, then there's another one. There's another part to that answer, I guess I'll give too, um, because it's the part that helped justify the moving forward, and that was the Samurai Jack bit. That's why it's such an inspiration to it as well. Um, the idea of a bunch of cultures, in this case, a bunch of past lives from around the world, uh, coming together in a person or putting their faith and ability, their lessons learned uniquely through their culture, into a person to oppose a very common evil, something that all of them face. That's a huge part of IronVerse Comics and Jack Irons as well. That was kind of the next step from like trying to figure out why you move forward, to like, well, that's partly why you have all this resources and all this ability. Um, so use it wisely, I guess is the best way to put that forward. And Samurai Jack's a huge part of that. That's kind of the gestalt is that sure it's a lot of different cultures and stuff that taught him to make it, but it's his inner strength that actually honors those lessons, those gifts, to fight this greater evil. And Universe Comics has that same exact concept. Instead of one Aku, we have four Akus, who have multiple manifestations and aspects that need to be opposed. We took a simple concept and kind of broke it into smaller concepts that can actually be directly opposed as we go. Um, and I think that's pretty cool, and I'm looking forward to doing that more and more. Issue number 4 is the first time we're really going to be doing that, of Jack Irons, where he is, through a very old Buddhist tale, one of the originals, in fact, um, opposing famine, opposing this corporate greed aspect of reality. So I'm excited for that to happen. But right now we're working on that trade paperback, which is not paper. It's a hardback. We'll see how that goes. Pushing forward though, almost at 3K. Very excited about that. I think that having your guideposts, having what you want to do with your art, having the bravery to push it wherever you can, having the near shamelessness to push it wherever you can, however you can, having an understanding of the battlefield and of the sides waging on it, and having respect and gratitude for those lending energy to your efforts, and then making sure that you are respecting it by utilizing it the best you can, trying to stay on a very specific path. All these things are how IronVerse Comics is a thing. Dollar Coins, massive part of it as well. Would not have the universe without him currently. Not even close. A lot of dynamics were built into Jack Irons as we've pushed forward through that, and I really recommend people check out Cactus Coyote. It is the other half. We've got Cax Coyote here working this way from space, and we have Jack Irons here working this way from Earth. And there will be a day where that collision is very necessary and will actually manifest exactly what IronVerse Comics needs to be. We're pushing very hard for that, and I think we can do it. It's just going to take time. This is something I've already almost nearly been at 2 decades. So I'm happy to put another lifetime into it, right? If folks are willing to support us for that long. And at the end of the day, I want it to be pushed forward. I want others to carry it, and that's what we built this. Particularly Jack Irons is built for that, but IronVerse Comics itself can also be built for that. So we'll see, we'll see. But yeah, hopefully that kind of covers the hows and all of that. Um, but if not, I'm happy to answer more specifics. That's where I'm gonna do better. Again, this is a rambling video. Kind of expected it to be, but hopefully it has some kind of purpose to it and point. Now, I was gonna look at, again, I'm rambling. We've looked at the issue 1 script before on stream and how it kind of changed to issue 1 for Maxi, but there's the book 2 script, which I guess is past these 4 issues, right? There's a lot I changed to make Jack actually a unique character. Jack had so much from pop culture just ripped, just so I had a strong footing to push forward from things I loved. Different names, name changes. Jenna became Kitty to honor Gunsmoke. Um, New Deadwood has been New Deadwood since the beginning. War's been War with 2 R's since the beginning. Famine has been Famine with a Y since the beginning. Um, those kind of little things, but yeah, see, this is this is but it was originally built more as an origin story, the first 4 issues or so, and some of it's really, really terrible. I'm so glad like I was willing to adjust things as I needed to push forward. Now, some of it in issue 2 made it, some of it from issue 3 made it. Um, but really, they are new issues, whereas issue 1 is a lot of this original Gestalt. But after that, once I learned how to work, I adapted and I started figuring out what I wanted to do. So this whole original volume 1, book 1, which was 4 issues, 144 pages originally planned, um, planned as a graphic novel. That's why I'm so happy to present them as a graphic novel, at least the first 3. It's kind of the coming full circle of this. Um, there's some goofy shit. Like he had a very special gun called the Beef, right? The ballistic engagement all-purpose handgun. And I still love the idea. I still think it's cool, and it might work into irons down the line. But he had a whole like the guy that he'd go to get his guns made, right? And there was a lot of fat. A lot of fat. We had to trim a lot of fat from what Jack was to really get to more of a communicative core. And so by the time we get to see, there's a lot of shit in here. Like I can't even believe I had that name in here. I don't even want to mention it because it's not something I would actually want to have in there now. Um, yeah, like what is this shit? A lot of it's just me, like what I was researching at the time. None of it's that great. Yeah, I'm gonna have to read through this again, see if anything's kind of interesting, because that was the first issue of Volume 2, where it's the War on War, which we don't get to war now till Volume 4, I think. Um, it's a trip, folks. Just stick with it if you love it, if it gives you something. There's going to be a lot of pain. I've had a lot of pain. I'm still going through a lot of pain with this creative process, and a lot of crises, which you can turn into opportunities. And I'm hoping to on a few of these, but we'll see. We'll see. I still have some adaptation I can do for this latest attempt, and I'm still thinking how I want to do that. The main point on this latest attempt was to trim the fat. As we did with our storytelling and did with our creative work, I need to do it on the business end as well, so it's a more precise and easily pointed machine. That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. But yeah, any more specific aspects on comic production? That's the thing I have. I've learned a lot, but I have a hard time like discussing without specifics, right? Like how you get a book made. Um, when we got the second crowdfunding thing, done where we were able to fund issue two. We found a publisher that was willing to fund the printing of those, and so we had physical issues as an option. I didn't have much to do with that end, and then with the issue three campaign, I had to deal with that end, and so there was a lot of learning there. Um, and so I've got I hope I have some things to share, and part of this YouTube channel is so that it can be shared. So happy to answer any questions. What I've found is like at least 80 to 90% of comic readers um, maybe don't want to be creators, but they have a creation in mind, right? They have something there that they think they could do better, even if it's a story for an established franchise or something like that. Not all film lovers want to make films. Not all novel readers want to write. Um, but I found in comics there's this symbiotic relationship between the medium and its driving force of creation that people who love comics end up getting addicted to. And so I want to share my addiction with that and hopefully provide less bumps for other folks trying it because I think everybody has a story to be told and there's different ways that story will be told. And if you want to do it through comics, I want to hear it. And to hear it, I want you to have fun doing it and I want you to have the ability to do it. And those two things aren't guaranteed, but there's ways to hedge your bets. And we've done very well at IronVerse Comics in hedging our bets when we have no right to be where we are, in all honesty. So happy to share what I can. And yeah, I'll be here for a little bit longer. It's got about 5 more minutes till an hour. I'm happy to call it at an hour if there's no like other engagement. I don't know if I have anything else to say on the how of IronVerse Comics. Um, if I had to sum it up, it was being stubborn, having a even more stubborn muse, an inspiration that was very strong, having the ability and willingness to adapt, to understand that art is never going to be communicated directly from head to somebody else, that there's going to be filters, and that sometimes the filters can actually make it clearer and better uh, overall. Um, Adapting and being willing to network, even if you're going to make some bad mistakes in doing so. Um, and not giving up. That's the big one. When you hit those mistakes, the mistakes are the big lessons that hopefully you can carry forward. Now, we've been lucky enough, even with our biggest mistakes and my biggest mistakes, um, nothing sunk the ship. There's always a chance you'll make a mistake so big you sink your ship. Um, but you have to let the ship sink, I think, for that to happen. You have to try to not plug the hole. You have to either completely ignore the hole or not recognize what happened for it to sink. And if you're not going to give up, then you have to recognize the troubles that are happening and deal with them. Otherwise, you're just being stupid, right? You can't push forward with a boat that's Swiss cheese. It's just not going to happen. Um, and so that's what we've done constantly, and that's how we're a thing. Um, but we're also a thing because we provide something quality that people resonate with. both on the creative level and how I've been able to forge a wonderful set of creative folks to help me make these things happen. Um, on different levels, creative in terms of actually making these stories cool and entertaining, um, having them work logistically, like dollar coins here helps. Um, Helping them work on the business end, which our publishers helped, and that was the biggest lesson too. The printer that we work with, API, has helped considerably. Um, Taking the punches and rolling with them, pushing forward, not giving up, and respecting what it means not to give up. Um, Consistently, I am reminded that we inspire other folks, and that's a big one for me too. Um, that's a very rare gift you can give somebody, uh, and it's one that you rarely intend to give someone. It's this little bit of extra, magic out there that manifested that you just being you and you just sharing your work can manifest. And I respect that greatly, and I'm very, very grateful for it. Um, so that helps push me. It's a weight on your shoulders, but it's also a bunch of hands helping carry you up. So you know, find a love, find a passion with this. If that's what comics is for you, then keep doing it, whether or not it's being heard or being enjoyed. But if you want it to be heard and you want it to be enjoyed, make sure you're doing something quality and make sure you're giving it your all in every aspect that needs to be given. And there's a lot of aspects of this that you'll hopefully have time to learn. Um, that hopefully your ship is strong enough to take a few blows here and there, um, hit a few tidal waves, a tsunami here and there even, and survive. Tie yourself to the mast and just fucking ride it out if you have to. But yeah, don't fucking give up. That's how IronVerse Comics is a thing. Um, and wonderful backers and supporters and readers. Um, we seriously have no funding without you folks, and I've had to adapt a lot to make these things happen. But that's part of the journey, part of the lesson. And though I've been at this idea for 16 years, I've only been in this industry for three. If you start when we were actually pairing writing to sequential art, right? Start a production maybe is when you did that. Um, than about 5 or 6 years, and I've been blessed to work with the same artist for that long. That's very rare. You can do that, and even rarer that it's 3 issues, and we don't have to worry about cancellation. We just have to worry about not getting funded. So this story will continue being told, however we can manifest it, as long as folks fund it. We don't have a corporate overhead saying, "Yeah, no, we don't want to see this story." It's like, yeah, well, fuck you. We want to tell it. Right? That's where we're at, and I'm very blessed that that's the footing we're able to take. I'm glad the lighting looks great. A couple different daylight bulbs. I put one in the back there. Uh, it's brighter on camera, but it kind of works. It's kind of neat. And then there's one on a stand right in front of me right there that's kind of pointing down to kind of blast it here. And then I put more specific kind of purpley looking daylight bulbs, the ones I thought I was going to get with these other two, above me that are really light. And man, I fell in love with the lighting they put out, just on a natural basis. It's way nicer than the standard lighting I'm used to. Um, Way easier on my head and eyes, so that was easy. But I'm glad the lighting looks better. The camera also has been working a little bit better on picking up lighting. So this is the setup for now. Um, Colors are a little bit better for sure. Things pop a little better, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes in the future. I'd like to have something a little bit closer and more personal, but that's just not how my office space here and primary living space is set up. So, yeah, thank you. I'm glad it looks better, particularly coming from you because you know a bit more about doing that than I do. And I just, again, I guess another part of how, right? Use every tool you have, even if they're not the best tools. work towards better tools, and just continue that cycle. And that's how you'll get stronger at whatever you're doing. And that's this. I know this YouTube channel's tiny, but it's way bigger than it has any right to be. Um, yeah, I've had to adapt and push forward as we go, and this was just another way to give it my all. So here we are. All right. Well, that's a lot of rambling from me. I wouldn't mind answering any more questions, but we hit the 1 hour, 1 minute mark. So this isn't a bad place to stop it either. But yeah, I'm not in any hurry to stop either. But I think besides burping, I think I've covered the bits I wanted to. Um, so far, what we've accomplished in the, how is it a thing? What we've been able to accomplish is two variant covers in an issue 3, two original printings, which are now being switched over to the more consistent trade look, which I'm excited for. The next Wicked Publishing Public printing is going to have these covers, but this is going to match these. I can actually, for the hell of it, show you, because I got nothing else in mind. We'll go over here. I can show you the new trade dress for the hell of it on those covers. I really like it. The team also prefers it because it's less busy. I like the busy a little bit, but that's always been me. Again, I trim the fat. It'll cut sharper if the edge is sharper. But let me see. No, I'm gonna have to go to the bookmarks to find it. There it is. And we'll go over here and display capture. So you see, it's subtle, but it's way more subtle than it was. We have this almost gaudy, uh, bright orange and fire with the motorcycle tethered to the horses. Like I like that a lot, but I think this will hit stronger, and since it'll match other printings, I think that's the cool way to go about it. Um, I'm gonna change that too. There's all these little tweaks that you have to stay on, and as a smaller indie, you don't have a bunch of people like who handle that. Like this is the guy who makes sure your legal text is right, and this is the guy who makes sure that all those little bits. So I did just realize we're gonna have to change the credit page again to reflect that this is the original cover and the original printing. So I'm gonna have to talk to Nico about that. I forgot to do that, but we do have them being adjusted, and that's what they look like. I think they look really cool. I like what he did here as well. The fact that this is kind of up and over the cowboy bit's kind of neat. Death stands above it, but he doesn't. I like it a lot. Um, so yeah, that's like the biggest update we have currently, but we're working at it. And yeah, so we've got a lot done. Surprisingly, we also have a manga you can read from Cactus Coyote. Um, check out IronVerseComics.com. I can't shill this place enough. It has every link you could want from us. Here's the two places you can read our stuff for free. Here's where you can support us if you want merch. A lot of people like mugs. We got mugs and just put up a new poster there. Little things. Where you can reach us online also. Any of these, go ahead and say howdy. This is our biggest reach. Most of you are going to be seeing this right here. Some of you are going to be seeing it here. Some of you are actually seeing it on Twitter as well. Um, all what we're trying to do to fund it. Patreon is the most consistent. It actually is what allows this website to exist because it's way more expensive than I could afford. But our kind Patreons take care of that for me. Um, this is the current campaign, which we are fulfilling, which are these 3 issues, which are continuously arriving to folks, which I'm so excited. If you are watching this and you actually, are receiving your issues, please let me know. Even if it's just an email and say, hey, I got my issues. That would be great. If you take a picture, share it on social media. That's how people know that we exist. We're tiny, in a tiny industry, and we could do better. and we need your help to do better. The best way I can say that. And then we got the hardcover Kickstarter going, which again I'm very grateful that we got at least one more backer during this. That was very neat. I didn't expect it. I did a drinking live stream day before yesterday, Monday night. Completely destroyed me after the stream. I was surprised. I actually got through the stream. I was able to finish it, and everything was cool. Because man, afterwards, um, I'm I don't do well with drinking anymore. I used to do a lot better, but yeah, I'm getting older. I'm getting older. It's how it goes. Um, but anyway, you can check that out too. I'm sure it's a lot of fun. I can be uh, I'm a lot looser, and I think I can be pretty fun when I'm drinking, especially when it's hyped and has a purpose. Uh, so check that out. Previous video on this channel, I think. I think it was called Drinks for Backers. Uh, yeah, check out IronVerseComics.com if you ever need any kind of info from us. I do have this newsletter sign up. I've only used it once. There's only about 9 emails to it, so I haven't really gotten it hardcore. I'm going to have to filter that into both the Kickstarter channels and the Indiegogo channels, but trying not to overburden folks because even just running this Kickstarter currently is a little bit much. Um, because not everybody has received their fucking physicals of issue 3 and so on that they backed last year, right? That one. But it was time. It was time. So we're doing what we need to. Again, you adapt and you push forward and you try and learn. So if we don't fund, something to learn there. If we do fund, there's something to learn there. So I'm excited to see how that goes. Um, 29.79. I doubt we've pushed past that, but it was nice. That's one more physical backer. Um, 84 backers. We actually need 240 to fund or so. Um, so it's a road. It's a road. There's not much passive awareness through Kickstarter. I think we're getting kind of the same thing that's happened with Indiegogo, where we are. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not gonna speculate too much because I don't know. But there's clues on our crowdfunding efforts that things aren't as how do I want to phrase that? The awareness that could be there is not there. I guess is the best way to put it. And now a lot of that is on my front. I haven't been able to push this as hard as I've pushed other campaigns, but even with the last campaign last year, there was a little bit. Well, I don't know. I don't know. It might be funny business shenanigans, I'll say, but there might not be either, and it's just our merit just ain't there. But you don't know, but there's a lot of clues, and I don't need to get into them because they're be at best hearsay, right? So, anywho, if you like what we do, share it. This is our latest effort, the best thing we can do. Um, Currently for this. Issue number 4 is just waiting to be funded. That's our next attempt. I think even if this does not fund, we might just move straight into issue 4. Try and fund that on Indiegogo. See if that works. But yeah, this is what we're working on. This is how IronVerse Comics is a thing. And I'm Cody with IronVerse Comics. And I really appreciate your time, folks. Um, So if you have any questions, I'd love to honor your time by giving you some answers. If you do not, I think I'll start wrapping up. Not too much else I can push forward. I think that's the amount of updates I also have, just kind of tack on at the end there. I've been posting a lot of fan art from before because it's been a while, and again, most folks have not seen that fan art. A lot of our audience has, but most folks haven't. So I'm always happy to do that, and as long as the artists are fine with me doing it, I'm totally stoked to do that because I love all of our fan art. Um, but yeah, oh shit, oh that's cool. All right. Well, it's nothing I really need to talk about, but I'm excited that that's a thing. That's cool. Uh, yeah. Yeah. Anyway, uh, that's the how. I think I covered it in the rambling Cody Fernandez way for the last hour. So, yeah, I don't have many other points to hit. Use every tool at your disposal. Respect your fan base. Um, respect the medium and the artistry involved. Um, know what it means to respect these things, uh, because that means there's going to be a lot of work. Um, make sure that mistakes don't sink you, even when you feel they should. Um, yeah. Uh, Again, issue 1, page 3, tenacity will get you through anything. Um, that's the hope. We put a lot of, there's usually a mission statement or something to be said about our work in our work. So I hope folks who enjoy it and check it out um, get those messages. That's part of the fun. All right, I think I am gonna close it out. Um, I could put on some gameplay or something, but then that breaks the purpose of the stream. So let's go ahead and do that. And I might be back later today with some gameplay in a more loose AMA kind of format as I usually do. We'll see though. A lot of things I need to do today. But it'd be nice. I like hanging out with you folks. I really do. So thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for being part of how any of this happens. Any of it. All these cool things only exist because people enjoy what we do. Um, and that we do it well enough to get it done, right? I don't want to discount IronVerse Comics as a team and as a creative force, but that itself has no merit without the ability, the energy to put behind it. And since we don't have uh, some kind of large financial hand carrying us along, we need to ask the folks who like this medium, who like the ideas we're trying to present, who like the artistry we're able to present, to continue to throw a couple bucks in the bucket. And again, IronVerseComics.com has all our links and ways that you can do that. $1 a month on Patreon makes a massive difference, and you'll have a digital, you'll have our access to our digital library for all time. Um, the goal is to make sure that the reads are seen, um, but the way that they are seen is through funding. And so, yeah, I don't want we're hitting all the angles we can, and we're the PBS kind of model here, except we don't get government funding. So we are literally only made because of readers like you. So thank you, and I'll catch you folks on that Rusty Ironverse Comics trail. You folks take care. Um, enjoy that real quick, because that's the only way I can get the standby. And yeah, catch you on that Rusty trail, folks. Thank you so much for your time. Yeah, we're gonna do this again. We're gonna close it out again. Only because I did that thing I'm not supposed to do. So if I turn off my mic before it's fully muted, you'll get that awful noise I'm sure you guys heard when I started that thing. So I haven't done that for a while, but yeah, I noticed it. So apologies. And now we're done. Now I'll see you on that Rusty Trail, which is bumpy, full of technical difficulties, but just gets better and better. All right, take care, folks.